All right, welcome folks. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. Listen, this is going to be your Monday SITREP. It is 11 a.m., actually about a minute past. I was having some streaming issues. YouTube did not want to connect today for some reason. So we got it up and running. We're good to go as I push my drink out of the picture. And let's see here. Let's get over, without further ado, let's hop over here to our board. Again, it's 8/29/2022. And we're going to jump over here to our board because we got some breaking news going on. Just a little heads up. It looks like Al-Sadar, or however you pronounce his name, supporters stormed the green zone after he quits. So it looks like we've got yet another government collapse. Now, keep in mind, we've just watched Sri Lanka. We're watching Bangladesh in the process. We're watching several parts of Africa in terms of that continent having a lot of issues on governments and coups and things like that. We've got the Japan government that just shuttered their whole system, and then you've got Boris and the UK. You've got Italy. These are just continuing to happen. If you get over to just remember, as a reminder, if you look at the Great Reset, just use center of the picture there, climate action failure. But if you go to the right, what do we have both above and below that? Actually, directly beside it and below it, global governance failure, and then national governance failure. This means they're kind of shocking to think this is part of their equation, but it is, right? And so as these governments fold, if they can't get reestablished, that just puts us closer and closer to somebody stepping in and saying, hey, we need one world leader, as we've always been pushing, because these governments need somehow they're going to need the support. So, but let's get over here to some pictures. I will just show you on the evac side of the house. My understanding is that the U.S. Embassy is actually in the process of being evacuated. And these are pictures that were shared with me based on that intel. You can see we got a banana copter rolling right in there, aka the Chinook. CH-47, I believe it is, looks to be landing there in that area. And then we've got this one from a distance. You can see some of the locals kind of hanging out, watching what's going on over there at the embassy. But you see, it looks to be a H-53 on a rooftop. And then we've got video to kind of support that. So you can see, the sound will go away here in just a minute, but there's the helo behind the trees landing on that rooftop right now. So you can see folks getting off, but they're basically pulling everybody out of the embassy there, from my understanding. And anyway, all right, let's move on over here. Just make sure you hit that like, subscribe, bell for notification. We'll keep you posted as this thing unfolds. But it's very interesting, to say the least. Again, this is Al Jazeera is actually reporting on it, so that's going to be breaking news. All right, now what happens when this kind of stuff goes down and you're in a country? Now, I will tell you, I have zero affiliation with these folks. I bought the insurance myself because I'm traveling internationally to an area that potentially could go hot at the end of this year, and so I just wanted to point this out. Just for the followers, because I love you guys, and I don't want you getting stuck in a country somewhere, because people are starting to do a little bit of traveling as we get towards the end of this year. We've got a lot of political things going on, right, with the election and stuff like that. But around the world, as you watch these governments fail to stand up, you don't want to be caught behind that. And so I bought Global Rescue. I will tell you, it was not that bad, actually. So, and for my wife and I both, for a whole year's coverage, up to, I think it's a dozen trips or something like that they cover us for. But it was like $1,200, which is, when you think about what they offer, they will come in and evac you if you're stuck behind the line. There's all kinds of stuff. They give you real-time event alerts. So if you're in an area, they'll be, constantly in touch with you on what's going on around there, so you're not caught on your heels. So anyway, nonetheless, I'm just putting that out there. Like I said, don't know these guys from a sack of potatoes. They don't know me. I'm just putting it out there, just sharing the love, man. So hope you guys find it useful if you are traveling. All right, so other breaking news here. It looks like NASA scrubbed the moon launch after an engine problem. Now, this is an unmanned launch, but it looks like it got down to T-40 minutes right there in Cape Canaveral. As you can see, this thing, supposedly it's going to be like the Saturn V, very, very bright. So, but they also are having engine problems. So just pay attention to that, and we'll see what happens from here. Amazing, we're trying to go back to the moon, isn't it? All right, over to the weather side of the house, just to show you the volcanic activity that's going on. South America looks to be popping. We see some pretty big ash alert areas down here just outside of Bolivia. You get up here at Fuego in Guatemala, and then over here we've got Dukono, which is a big one, and so is Simaru. Krakatoa is not showing anything today, nor is Japan or Russia, which is very interesting. So let's move on over here. As we're talking about weather, we're going to transition into some of this weather manipulation stuff, but I do want to just kind of bring up a couple things. One, TFR. Notice we've got this one that is that's going to be POTUS. Looks like he's headed somewhere, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And then, of course, we got the TFR over the Senior Living Center. But that looks to be tomorrow, August 30th. So it looks like he is coming off vacation, maybe. All right. Now, this is your Atlantic. Everything's starting to fire. You can see they've got zones they're starting to watch. I've also watched the Teal aircraft, which are the hurricane hunters, start to pre-position themselves out here near Barbados. So we'll look at that as well. This area, they do believe a storm is going to form in the next 5 days. So actually the next 4 days now, because that was yesterday. So we'll see if we get one coming off the East Coast, and we're watching for this stuff down here to kind of get happy, start forming down here in the Caribbean side. Okay, we'll back away from that. Let's get over here to weather manipulation. Let's talk about NOAA. We've got one flight just landed down here in Florida. It took off early this morning. Looks like we have another one that's currently airborne right now off the coast of Washington State, and that's NOAA 46. So we'll watch this one and start to kind of get into what these guys are up to in just a second. Now look over here at the NASA piece. You can see these are going to be your hurricane hunters. Those are P3s. Looks like they, like I said, out here into Barbados. And then let's get a closer look at weather modification flights. We do have some that are up, so we'll look at our watch list first, and then we'll drill down into their location and what they're doing. All right, so this is going to be your watch list. I pulled this about an hour ago. We've got a little Phoenix Air off the west coast. That's one of our watchbirds. Let's see here. Florida, there's your NOAA bird. We had that one up, and it was doing some routes right there in that general area. It looks like it has since landed. And then we've got stuff coming up the East Coast at Energy 80. That's going to be nuclear security. All right. They've been very busy lately. That should concern us all. Then you get up a little further, and you look at this one. That's going to be one of your weather modification LLC birds. Looks like they are getting ready to get busy. Right now, it looks like they just landed in Michigan State. Is what it looks like. We'll look at it closer. Then get over here to Europe. And you can see there is Jack Nicholas, actually just finished, looks like, visiting Italy. So he didn't go to play golf. Well, maybe he's playing golf in Italy. But notice the spy tracks here have changed, right? We've been watching it over the Black Sea for a while, but notice these seem to be over Lithuania and all around Kaliningrad. That's because we've got a lot of movement going on right now with the Russians and their hypersonic missile program. There's your other weather modification LLC bird over, it's kind of right on the border there of the Red Sea, but looks like the Saudis are manipulating some weather. So let's get into that here in just a minute as we get into the heavy lifts. So very, very light last 24 hours from a heavy lift perspective. You'll see that from time to time where it'll just be gangbusters, and then it'll be a little bit of a resting period. Now, notice again, you got a lot of activity north up here headed into Finland, outside the Baltic Sea region, and then there's Kaliningrad, and it looks like we've delivered some assets right there in Lithuania, right on the Belarus border. And also notice we've got that's actually a Canadian bird. Headed over the region. And then if you get down over the Black or just past the Black Sea, notice the stuff coming in and out of Cyprus. Remember, we've got a hot evac going on right now in Iraq, so there's probably some QRF teams extracting them. And that's quick reaction force, by the way. My understanding is we got 2 teams going in. And then notice all the stuff going on. A lot of C-17s and stuff there in Saudi and Dohas and that general region, Qatar. And it looks like we got a little bit of movement down into southern side of Africa. All right, southwestern side. So that brings us over to the air refuelers. Notice we have a couple headed across the drink. More than likely, they were supporting fighters going across. And so you'll see that from time to time. They'll bug in and out, and they'll bring the KC-135 air refuelers back across the drink. Just they're helping with a ferry flight for fighters more than likely. Okay, and then we've got this one running over the North Sea. It's a little tanker. Looks like we got some activity going on with around the Brits, and then one right up over Constanta in that general area. Obviously, we got fighters up. And it looks like it's being supported out of the Spain-Portugal area. All right, let's get back to our main page. So hurricane hunters, looks like they're out there from a weather perspective. We expect to see that. You'll also notice some C-130s. They go by a call sign, TEAL, teal. And those are going to be hurricane hunters. So we expect to see them move into this region, especially right now. It's hurricane season, right? But let's go over here to the weather. Modification Llc company. This plane landed 1 hour 45 minutes ago. It's showing as a Learjet and without any attachments on it. I don't know what the deal is with that one. If this could just be some executives coming out here to talk to them about doing some work for them, or if this aircraft actually has some stuff on it. But there's the one we're just looking at. Again, it took off out of Fargo, North Dakota, headed to Thunder Bay, Canada. So maybe the Canadians are getting ready to do a little weather mod. And then here's the other one. This landed, took off out of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I probably mispronounced that, but and it took off and landed same spot. But you can see all of the little legwork it was doing up here. Now, when I was watching it earlier, there were some actual rain clouds showing on this map. They have since disappeared. So if I do a replay, we'll see if the weather shows itself. It should. Let's speed this up a little bit too, so that we can watch for the weather to show up. Now, it may not pull it back through, but I was really hoping it would. You can see them jockeying all around right up to the border, and then they're headed back down south again. Now, where you see that aircraft moving back and forth like that, that's where the weather cell was. Evidently, it's not going to pull in the weather. It's just going to show the flight. So, but right in here was where the little green dots showed up while they were doing their stuff. So, but I don't see any weather there now. So it's very interesting. Are they drying it up? Or are they trying to make it rain? That's probably the $1 million question, right? All right, heads up on this one now. You may be watching low helicopters in your area, or even some small fixed wing aircraft, and not just helicopters. But notice this guy's got a bucket full of these little packets in front of him. And it looks like the USDA is now scattering rabies vaccines for wildlife in 13 states. Something tells me this is going to go horribly wrong. I am noticing the Texas patch right here on this guy. So, yeah. So it looks like you got somebody in the right seat just dropping these little candies, I guess. But they are oral doses of rabies. So let's see if it actually increases or decreases, or what it does, if it moves the needle. I always get skeptical when these guys are out manipulating nature, just like they do weather modification, because I don't trust their government as far as I can throw them. So, okay, on to China, launching giant cloud seeding drones to combat record drought. Again, here we go. I mean, you can look at this drone, and it says the Winglong 2H UAVs are deploying silver iodine flame bars during a 4-hour flight to create artificial rain. Again, we're just seeing more and more of this this manipulation of our environment, and it's probably going to be, like I said, getting the genie out of the bottle. It's not good, right? Now, what's really interesting is, check this out. This is Germany, a global food crisis, 50% crop loss likely due to drought. Yet, we see them out there manipulating weather, and but they don't seem to be doing anything to help improve the conditions for crops. So are they drying things up, or are they actually creating rain? That's the $1 million question. So we will continue to watch it, but it's just amazing when you see them doing weather modification and then you turn around and see droughts that we can't seem to break, or we can't seem to do anything to help the farmers. That's because it's all part of the plan, right? All right, speaking of powder keg, this is not good right here. I'm going to show you some reports from China. Their economy is basically in a free fall right now too. So they're collapsing. They're taking a lot of folks down with them. Notice the amount of ships that are still parked off the shore that are not in service. Okay, that's a pretty big one. It has not changed. As a matter of fact, if we could just go down the coastline and see, there's probably 10,000 ships out here that are not being utilized. So definitely pay attention to that. That means the supply chain is crumbling on that side of the house. Now check this out. Is it me, or does this dude look like an Oompa Loompa? I throw on an orange thing, or maybe some bright white eyebrows on him, and you got your Oompa Loompa. Definitely got the hairstyle for it. So, all right. So it says here, China is at the point of no return, crunch time, as China tries to fend off a property crash. That property crash, if you guys remember, that is going to be that Evergrande realty company that basically it's the largest real estate company in the world, and it is still in a free fall collapse. They've yet to make any of their payments, and they fall short, as the loan is called. So that right there is probably going to send them into some pretty big upheaval in terms of their economy. I mean, we already saw it. We already look at the ships that are sitting out there. So this is just another indicator that they are in big trouble there. Okay. All right. Now, if we look at the military side of the seaports, just as a data point here, notice a lot of circles, not as many arrows out here. These are typically, now Kaliningrad right here, that's Russian occupied. My understanding was there was a blockade in here, but I'm not seeing it. I do have this warship that's sitting right now that's it looks like a Lithuanian or a Latvia warship that's sitting right off the coast there. But this is a port. It's a Russian port at Kaliningrad. They have, where do you know, they've moved jets in with hypersonic missiles, supposedly nukes. And then Belarus is also claiming they have them. So we'll look at that here as well. But just from a data point, it doesn't look like we've got a lot of military vessels on the move, other than ours that are being denied. So this is, you may remember that the Chinese kind of stood up shop down in Solomon Islands, and the U.S. was not in a good place about it, but it looks like it has since shored that up, and it looks like they are controlling it. But they're saying now they're denying port calls to U.S. military vessels because of China's influence. And, of course, our State Department is butthurt level bravo over the whole deal. All right, let's get over to cyber. You can see what's happening. The U.S. seems to be getting pelted from China right now. Notice all that stuff's coming out of Asia and Southeast Asia as they are pelting here in the U.S. So if you notice your internet's slow or having connection issues, this is probably why. This looks to be everybody coming at us. So, oh boy. All right, we'll continue to watch that. Looks like Europe is also getting it from us. So, all right, let's talk about flashbang and dumpster fires. As you can see today, it looks like they are departing from Newcastle, headed back to the White House. That was this morning, 9 a.m. And it looks like he arrived shortly, a little while ago, back at the Senior Living Center. Okay, news report here. America imported. Now, and I'm segueing this piece because we're just looking at Flashbang, and I want to just show you how he's doing. Just to show that this is all a load of rubbish as we push all of these supposed sanctions onto Russia. Check this out. In the meantime, as China is drying up and not sending us anything, it looks like we have shifted. Now it says Moscow has been able to maintain its economic strength in part by exporting over $1 billion a month in wood, metals, food, and other goods to the United States. Other goods is probably Nancy Pelosi's vodka. But nonetheless, more than 3,600 ships from Russia have arrived in U.S. ports since February 24th. So all of this whole sanction thing, I'm telling you, it's all lip service. There's nothing to see here, right? Now, here's another one that'll get you based on Flashbang. Pentagon Inspector General is now doubtful Ukraine is tracking any of the U.S. supplied arms saying they're going to conduct an audit. Well, I would say you probably want to track the money as well, because more than likely the money that's going into here is going into people's bank accounts, i.e. foundations, if I had to bet my life on it. Just like Uranium One, pay to play. All right. German lawmaker breaks ranks, demands a halt to weapons for Ukraine amid escalating spiral. Yeah, somebody's finally waking up and realizing, hey, if you keep pumping quarters into the machine, eventually you're going to be fully engaged in this. And it looks like some German lawmakers are kind of breaking rank. So good on them. But notice nobody's doing it in the U.S., right? All right. Now, we did have a Senator Blackburn head to Taiwan. I guess she got word that, hey, they're giving out checks over there. So let's just get everybody over there. You can hand deliver, pick up that check, come back and drop it in, since it won't be traced into your account. But check this. China answers Senator Blackburn visit by buzzing Taiwan with 4 nuclear-capable bombers. Here they are right here. Notice they kind of look like our B-1 bomber. Not a coincidence. They are basically steal our stuff every chance they get. I say steal it. They were given our stuff. Make sure we keep that straight, right? Amazing the kind of technology you can put on a server in your bathroom and allow everybody to get to it. Not that that ever happened. All right, here you go. As notice too, we get a mix bag of tricks out of every senator, everybody that runs their mouth. You get guys from the State Department saying we don't recognize their independence, and then you get these folks that show up over there and say that they recognize it as an independent nation. Just amazing, and probably had a check inside that cup there. All right, let's go over here to our NOTAMs. Just give you a general idea of what's going on. Notice this one looks like a big B. This is going to be your Teal aircraft. That's Hurricane Hunter's TFR for the region. It's the weirdest TFR I've ever seen in my life, but nonetheless, it is out there. So that's where they're going to be doing their hurricane hunting. So we'll watch for those. We do have this one. I don't know what it is, but that's new. That just popped off. Let me see if it's willing to. It doesn't want to load. Evidently, it's a blank TFR. Looks like we got some military activity out here as well as here. This is Hawaii up north of that. Who that is, I don't know. Interesting that it did not pull up when I tried to pull it up. So, all right. And again, check this out. We get up here to this general area. That looks very, very close to HARP. Low military operating area active. All right. So it looks like some military activity going on here. Let's see. And then north up here, that's right on the border. But again, HARP is kind of right in this general area. Let me back up. Let's get a little look over here at this general region. Not seeing anything over Iraq, which I find very interesting, especially given the fact right now that we've got an exfil going on. Just notice the big box out over this general area, Cyprus, Israel right here, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem. But this is where between Turkey and Greece, these guys, Turkey's trying to recreate the Ottoman Empire, and they've got a big push. That's why you see all this jockeying going on with Greece right now. So, and up over here, major zone, no-fly zone. We'll look to see if we've got any aircraft. I did see the Q4 just a minute ago as we get back into this. As I pop it up, give you kind of a general idea. Notice the activity right here of all the heavy lifts going in and out of the Middle East, coming out of Iraq. So these are more than likely probably supporting an exfil, if I had to guess. Up here, we got a Q4 drone over the Black Sea. That's Forte 10. We expect to see that. This is going to be that Poker 45. Looks to be one of the aircraft that's bugging in and out of the region. Notice it's flying. Actually, I thought maybe it was going in and out of Iraq, but it looks like it's going in and out of Jordan, maybe? Yeah, it looks like it's coming out of Jordan back and forth. That could be now headed down into Qatar. So I'm telling what that one is. Let's go over to the CONUS side of the house real fast. As we look at the numbers, and we'll back it up so you can see what's kind of happening here across the U.S. It is I say a light day, but it's 492 mil aircraft currently showing 448. Notice the biggest numbers here again: trainers, NAs, a lot of massed aircraft, 25 of those. And then H60 wise, you can see got kind of a little spread there, 19 of those. That's higher than usual. But for the most part, air refuelers, C-130s kind of close it out, but everything looks to be heavy from a U.S. perspective in a trainer fashion as always, but it looks to be kind of the panhandle up to Pax River on the East Coast. Nothing. Texas is really light today. Very unusual. Okay, let's take a closer look at the Ukraine. You will notice we're starting to get sirens on the opposite end of Ukraine. That's because Russia's starting to fire rockets into other areas of, they're starting to expand their effort. Very, very active and busy. Also notice right here you've got a train that Russia is basically sending in right now, their 3rd Army Corps to the border. But the train, if you notice, it's got weapons all over it, tanks and trucks, transports, things like that. So it looks like that was further down south. It looks to be almost to the border. And so it looks like they are doing a replan. And again, you continue to watch troops kind of stack up north of Kiev. So we'll continue to watch it. And this area too, we continue to watch Moldova. All right. Now, we were just talking about Belarus. I'm showing you the fact that if you look at the spy craft that are up over Latvia and over that general area, we go back over here to our map, you can see right up here they're flying a lot of zones, a lot of missions up in Latvia and Lithuania in terms of the reconnaissance birds, so the R-135s, the B-703s, Joint Stars, etc. But Kaliningrad is that's going to be the Ruskies. Now remember, Belarus is also very, very, very heavy from a Russian perspective, and it says now that the Belarus is claiming that they now have nuclear strike jets in their area. So here's a picture of one of them on ground. Now, I don't know how old that one is, but nonetheless, it looks like they are stacking them up there in Belarus, which we expect. Probably we'll see that continue to grow. That's probably what's making Finland so nervous. So, all right, over here to Biggs, Army Airfield. Nothing really going on. It looks to be in that contracting state. Even if we go back to the arrivals and departures, we don't have anything since Friday. You can see on the board, that's just one of your Sun Country birds coming in out of Minneapolis. So that could be troops, maybe not. But we haven't had anything since last weekend. So very, very quiet at Biggs Army Airfield. So I seriously doubt they've got everybody in place, but they may. And so we see a little bit of a lull. Now this is over at Dover. Notice Dover's got a lot of stuff that's rolling back. This is actually arriving from Memphis. That's going to probably pick up a whole bunch of cargo. And it looks like it's taking it over here to Cologne. And yeah, actually that is where it's headed. And then of course, let me see if we've got any others. Got a couple Reach birds leaving. But even Dover for the most part is pretty quiet. Over here to Ramstein, you can see the board of arrivals. And it looks like we got a camber flight from Baltimore, Washington. I looked at the Baltimore, Washington international site. It's just chock full of commercial airplanes, so you'd be looking at a needle in a haystack. So this is actually cleaner to watch them just come inbound. But most of them look to be headed into Ramstein. So again, we got 3 camber flights. Those are troops arriving. And let's get over to this side. UPS, so we're watching UPS, FedEx, Atlas Air, all of them coming in and out. This one looks to be coming out of Louisville, Kentucky. That's probably that's the headquarters for UPS. And then we've got a couple camper flights. This one headed to Shannon, which is unusual for them to show it, and then this other one that is an unknown. So that's going to be Ramstein. Now we get over to the Ruskies. All they had was a helicopter that took off out of Stavropol and Stavropol, Russia, and it's just a helo, and it looks like it has since landed about 2 hours 5 minutes ago. So nothing really else up, at least. Well, I take that back. We got 2 more now. So this one is near Sochi. That's going to be right on that border, and the other one is looks to be since airborne, headed northbound. Again, these are going to be dignitaries for the Russians. Okay, there are your camber flights. Got one leaving Ramstein, one leaving Cologne, and then the other headed out of Anchorage, Alaska. This one's coming probably from Japan, more than likely. And then these are headed, look to be coming out of Germany, headed down to South Europe. southern Europe. All right, could be headed into Egypt, Cairo, that kind of area as well. We'll go back and watch them. Don't have anything from Omni today, which is very unusual. They are typically on the board. So here are your Brits. You can see very active in. It looks like we're starting to see some more activity here in this general region between Qatar, Bahrain, and Cyprus. Everybody seems to be kind of stacking up around Israel, which is a little bit of a concern, because I doubt they're there for protection. Now, this is going to be all your Swift flights, as you can see, quite a few. Everything is border related, headed down into Central America, actually headed into Cuba. But, yeah, very, very active, as always. And again, I haven't heard anything from Customs and Border Patrol. They have been non-responsive. So, all right, this is going to be World Atlantic Airlines. They're hit and miss. I had 2 flights a little while ago, Florida down to Cuba. They have since disappeared, and so nothing really to see there. So, okay, so the big takeaway is we've got definitely everybody still beating the war drums. It looks like we've got governments collapsing around the world, continuing to collapse, and we'll just continue to watch that take shape. Again, as you look at the Great Reset plan, path forward, we're seeing everything that's on this starting to bubble into play, right? So let's just pull that up one more time for the Great Reset. Just things that I'm going to point out: social instability, national governance failure, involuntary migration. These are all the elements. Now we're looking at extreme weather, food crisis, natural disasters. Just pay attention to this stuff, because you may remember 6 months ago we only had like 1 or 2 things on this that were starting to take shape, and now today we've probably got at least half of the field there in the mix. So they are definitely marching to plan, and it looks like they're going to be successful, unfortunately. So, all right, listen, that's going to do it for today. Remember, no Q&A. It's Monday. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. God willing, I have the AC working in my house by then, and it won't be 90 degrees in here. So, all right, listen, that's it. You guys be safe out there. Keep that powder dry, and we'll see you on Wednesday. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at monkeywerxus.com.